Now, more than ever, we need to focus on stories of strength, courage, and unity. Welcome to COVID Talks, a series dedicated to promoting positive conversations during uncertain times.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of COVID Talks, Positive Conversations During Uncertain Times. My name is Anthony Rapp of PR Cision, and I'll be your host for the evening. First and foremost, for those who are tuning in live, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching. If you could do us a favor, go to the bottom of the screen, press the share button, and share this post so that we can spread the message that we're trying to get across. For those of you listening on our podcast, we appreciate it. Thank you for downloading our podcast and listening. And tonight we have a great show. We have with us Michael Farace, who is the general manager of an Eltingville restaurant called Giovanni's Trattoria. And recently, a matter of fact, this past weekend for Mother's Day, they hosted a really unique event. It was a virtual wine tasting event. So Michael's got some new stuff that the restaurant is working on as far as different virtual events. They have things, I think they're rolling out something with graduation, virtual graduation. We know that's going to be an issue. Cigar night, scotch night, all kinds of stuff. But it's a great way to learn how an industry that's so heavily affected by what's going on in the current state of pause that we're on. It's nice to hear how the business is adapting and how we can learn about what they're doing and hopefully support them. Before we get to our guest of the evening, we're going to do, as we always do each night, we're going to start off with some positive news headlines. So first up, Delco Drugs, located in Eltingville as well. Delco Drugs, as of today's news story, is the first pharmacy on Staten Island to offer curbside coronavirus testing. So that's great news for anyone who is interested in getting tested. You can look them up online at Delco Drugs. They're located in Eltingville, right next to Pastosa Ravioli. Everyone knows where Pastosa is. So if you don't know where Delco is, they're right down the block. And they're going to be offering curbside coronavirus testing. Right there, you see Rob, the owner of the pharmacy. So remember that you can go there. There are also other facilities, but this might be easier. It might be closer to your location and more accessible. In other news, so Todd Bavona, who was gracious enough to be a guest of ours a few weeks ago here on COVID Talks, Todd Bavona and his company, Gotham Trinity Productions, has partnered with the Staten Island Advance for an initiative called Together SI. So now those of you who subscribe and or those of you who read SI Live every day, like most of us do, you'll now notice that there is a business spotlight video created each and every day. And Todd is the creator of the videos, and he is also the host of the show. So shout out to two people, the Advance for stepping their game up and creating new content that's relevant, and also to Todd Bavona and his company Gotham Trinity for getting out there and helping facilitate and put it all together. And tonight's last positive news headline. So there is a tiny town in Alaska called Gustavus, Alaska. A gentleman by the name of Tashua Parker owns the only grocery store in that town in Alaska. And he makes 14-hour trips via boat to a Costco somewhere out there. I'm not even sure where it is, but he makes 14-hour trips to Costco in a boat to bring back all the supplies and food and meat and everything that the town needs. He does this twice a week. So it's just something that's amazing. So the town has about 400 people in it, and this guy owns the grocery store. And every week he's going out and buying groceries from Costco to resell to the town. But the trip is 14 hours. I thought that was just a little bit interesting tidbit of information. All right. So before we get into our guest, how can you stay up to date? How can you follow us? Check us out on Facebook at COVID Talk. View our website, covid-talks.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at COVID Talks, and download our podcast on iTunes or Spotify. And if you're interested in being a guest, send us an email at info@prcision.com. We'd be more than happy to get you on. If you have a topic you would like to hear, we'd love to get your topic discussed. And if you or a client would like to create a live stream broadcast similar to what we're doing right now, shoot us an email because we can get it up, we can get it running, and we can get it done for you. It's info@prcision.com. We invite you to tune in tomorrow night at 7. Tomorrow night's going to be a great show. We have with us a young couple whose wedding was postponed. It was supposed to be this Saturday. But what they've done is, rather than, call or wash or be upset, they're using this Saturday as a day to launch a campaign to raise awareness and funds for food banks. And they're calling it With this ring, you'll be fed. That's the name of the campaign. So we're looking forward to having them on with us tomorrow night to talk about that campaign and how you can help and what they're doing and how they're turning a negative of not being able to have their wedding into a positive that's going to be able to help people go with food. And finally, we're excited to announce a COVID Talks exclusive this Friday night at 7 p.m. We are fortunate enough to have with us Pamela Silvestri. She is the food editor of the Staten Island Advance. Anyone on Staten Island knows who she is. She's doing great work. She has a daily talk show that she's doing live to sort of keep everybody up to date on what's going on in the restaurant world and what's going on in the food industry at large. So we look forward to having Pam with us here on Friday night at 7. All right, so we're back. So before we bring up our guests, we've had a various amount of guests, which we're very grateful to have had. And we've had a couple from the food industry. We had Carmine Gualtieri, who owns multiple locations here on Staten Island. Probably the definition of a restaurateur, in my opinion. And he was talking about how hard hit the restaurant industry is. What we know is that people, especially on Staten Island, have been doing the best they can to support their local restaurants. They realize that it's a struggle for them to stay open. It's, you're not allowed to go in or out. And the Staten Island community is banded together to support local restaurants in a time of need. So tonight we have with us Michael Farace, the general manager of Giovanni's Trattoria. And as I mentioned earlier, they created this event that it seemed like it was going to be a one-off event for Mother's Day. But based on the success of their virtual wine tasting event that they hosted last Saturday night, Giovanni's intends on rolling out a whole slew of different virtual packages. So we're going to bring Mike up. We're going to ask him how the restaurant's doing and ask him to talk about some of these new and creative ideas that Giovanni's has on tap. Mike, you there, brother?
How you doing, Anthony?
Good. So everything works. That's the first thing.
Everything is working so far. Nothing's falling on my head. Grass didn't fall over. We're good.
You needed to comb your hair, though.
Yeah, I'm working on that. I was still waiting for a makeup artist to come in. No such luck.
All right. So before we get into the interview, Mike, I'm sure there are people watching who have been to the restaurant that know who you are. But just for our listeners and viewers, give us your background. What did you do prior to Giovanni's? How did you get involved in the restaurant industry to begin with? Give us a little history of yourself.
Well, I mean, it all started December 23rd, 1960. No, just kidding. Basically, I come from corporate America. I was with AT&T. I was in the retail mortgage businesses a while back before 2008 came around and killed that particular market. I was with AT&T in the corporate world, in the retail side, but I've always had a passion for food. Since I'm a little kid, I was cooking alongside my grandmother, my mom, my father used to cook one things. It was just, for me, it was just always about a passion, right? So I would always tell people, if you're cooking something and you have the same ingredients and you're cooking from your head, it's going to taste different than if you cook from your heart. So it's important to have a passion about anything you're doing. So for me, it's just been about a passion. And, I love creating dishes. I love going alongside the chef and creating specials and just come up with different things. As long as you know what ingredients go well together, nothing can taste bad.
Nice. So what brought you to Giovanni's? How long you been there? When did you start? And when did you take over?
It seemed like I started 10 years ago, but God, I think it's around September. I think it was a mutual friend of ours, Vinny Bonomi, put us together. We just, it was to me, it was great. It's a great restaurant. It's been around for a long time. So I met with the guys. We sat down. We come up with a game plan, and the rest is history. Now it's just like a family here now.
So you said pretty recently. So you came in at what was probably a decent time in the world, and now
I came in at the tail end of the beautiful patio situation.
And I even run it during lockdown.
During lockdown,
and I even run it mostly during lockdown.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about before we get into the virtual events and stuff. What kind of cuisine does the restaurant offer? What do you guys specialize in? Are there any daily specials? What do you guys do? What do you put on over there?
I mean, we have amazing pasta dishes, chicken dishes. I mean, anybody ever asked me, what do you recommend? And there's nothing on there. I think, no, I wouldn't go with that or go with that, even though I might be partial because it's a restaurant. But we do amazing specials, whether it's from steak to seafood, Italian cuisine. I mean, I don't think I put myself up with any restaurant that's out there as far as whether it's high end, whether it's midstream, whether it's pizzeria type food. We have the only restaurant to serve pizza al metro, which is elongated pizzas, 18-inch, 29-inch pizzas. No one else on the market does that in Staten Island. So we have amazing cuisine here, and I'm proud to say that I'm part of it.
So now let's talk about Mother's Day. So I know you guys did a virtual wine tasting for Mother's Day, and from what I understand, it went off fairly well. So I'm going to bring up one of the. I guess this was one of your advertisements about the wine tasting, but kind of walk us through it. So what did the people receive? How did they get involved, and what happened that night?
I mean, they received a beautifully packaged wine kit that we created. I mean, it took a long time to create it. Everybody got together, and it wasn't a one person thought, but it was beautifully packaged in a black box. Beautiful red, paper grass on the bottom, and it had 3 bottles, 5-ounce bottles of wine, a Giovanni's glass, an antipasto that had super sad, had grapes, it had breadsticks, it had pecorino romano cheese, and it was just a great event. It was a great thing. You know what it was for me? It was just an amazing thing to bring people together in an unconventional way, I guess is the best way to put it. But there were a lot of laughs. People were drinking wine. How bad can this be? People had wine being delivered to their homes,
Right. And now, so they got the kits, and then they were invited to a virtual stream that was, of course, hosted by you, correct?
Correct.
So
there I am.
So there you are. And now, so kind of walk us through this. How does this? So this is a photo that was sent to me about an hour ago with all the participants. It looks like they're having fun, but. Correct. What did you do? How did you host this? I mean,
they had a based on the way which wine they felt was the best. They had a Pinot Noir. They had a what else did they had? They had a Chardonnay and a Montepulciano. So if we went through each of the wines based on the taste, based on the smell, based on the just based on all the criteria of a wine tasting. And I'll tell you what, when we looked at the screen, God bless them, they were all following along. You tell them to sniff the wine, they sniffed it. You told them to swirl the wine, they swirled it. They didn't swirl it.
To get people together when they really couldn't be together. So they were able to interact with each other, and they were able to see each other and everything. It was
like a modern day version of if you think back to the old intro to the Brady Bunch, right? One person looking up at the other, one person was looking down. It was just a great way people were able to interact, and they were discussing the wine. They were just having a good time, and it's funny. We're in a climate right now where, listen, we're humans. We're meant to interact. We're meant to be social. But obviously in this kind of environment, being social the way we know it before isn't available. So, we thought outside the box. We come up with something original, something that was going to be, in our opinion, fun to do. We didn't know it was going to have the success that it had. You try different things. So it was just an amazing event, and went off without a hitch.
So it sounds like it was going to be a one-off, but now you've kind of translated it into something else. So I know you sent me, and on your website, which we'll bring up on your website, you're going to be doing, just bring it up so I don't misspeak. You're going to be able to do virtual reservations for guests so they can order food. It looks like you also say that you're going to be doing virtual graduation dinner, which to me, that makes a lot of sense because, graduation's coming up, and unfortunately, it's not going to be like it used to be where mom and dad are taking 50, 60 people to a restaurant, unfortunately, because we're not going to be able to do that. Birthday parties for kids with pizza kits. That sounds interesting. And then scotch, sangria, and wine for the adults. So it all sounds good. So kind of tell us about them. Walk us through that.
The best part about all this is that none of this has to be cleaned up here at the restaurant.
That's a good point.
It's a good plus.
I like that. I like where your head's at.
But you know, the wine tasting, you know, it was like that little snowball, and then you take that little snowball, you put it on top of the mountain, and it just, as you go down the mountain, you just come up with different ideas. So, you know, I mean, we have a virtual dinner. Guests will receive a link where they can get access to a virtual dining room, and there's only going to be their party that's going to be sat. So it's really all private rooms. So
it's not going to be like what we saw with the Brady Bunch. You're going to be able to segment the audience.
No, it's going to be. I don't want to use the word segregated, but yeah, it's going to be strictly for their party. So if it's a party of 6, it's a party of 6, you know, and we'll be delivering the food to their houses. This way, they have the food and they can sit down in one room. So if it's Mary, Steve, Joe, and Sal, let's just say there's 4 people, 4 different dinners, 4 different houses. We'll get the food to their houses. We'll give them the link, and they'll be like they're sitting at one of our tables here at the restaurant.
It'll be like me and you talking right now.
Absolutely correct. Except we're not shoving food down our throats.
Yeah, except I'm not drinking right now for some reason.
Oh no, but wait.
Oh, you are drinking.
Yeah. One of our
for everybody watching and listening, we just posted the link to the events page where you can get more information about what they're doing. So you walked us through the dinner. Talk about this. Well, you just drank sangria, so the website says virtual sangria tasting. What's something like that look like? How are we going to do that?
Well, we're going to hand deliver. This is only going to be for Staten Island residents only for right now. You know, we don't know in the future what that can bring, you know, as far as later on. But we're going to hand deliver custom sangria kits, and it's going to be a sample of 3 of our signature sangrias, along with a little bit of light food. We haven't determined what that light food is going to be. Maybe a little appetizer, maybe a little antipasta, something to that effect, something light. And then they can join us for a virtual sangria room where we'll talk about the types of sangria, and you know, then they can interact with their friends.
Very cool, and I like this just because it's so timely. So I like the virtual graduation dinner. Mm-hmm. So how does that roll out? How do you see that playing out?
You know, again, everything. What's great about this is that everything is going to be privately held, right? Which is a huge thing. Nobody wants to sit there and have interactions with people they really don't know,
right?
But they can be reserved up to 50 guests. Guests have the ability to select their meals in advance, you know, and they can be hand delivered dinners right to their house. Again, Staten Island residents only for right now. You know, so. And it'll be brought to them on the date of the event. So again, we're going to provide them with the link to their private graduation room, and all the guests can enjoy seeing and speaking with each other while they're having their dinner.
And then the kid party. Well, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Something else, and we could also have a spotlight. You know, that's obviously one person's graduation, right? So that's got to be a special day for them. So we can spotlight that special person to make a celebratory speech, you know, in front of their group.
Nice. So dad, mom can get up and give a speech,
or even the graduate, if they're that brave.
And I'm blessed because, well, I'm blessed on many levels, but I'm blessed because my son is only 4 months old, so he's not driving us crazy. He's too young to really understand. Mm-hmm. But all my friends with kids, the kids are going crazy, especially when moms and dads are trying to tell the kids who are 4, 5, 6 years old, who don't really understand, listen, we can't have your birthday party at the karate school. We can't have your birthday party like we used to have it and go rent all these inflatables and do everything. We're not allowed to. So what's this birthday party? How does a birthday party look for kids?
Well, you know, again, you know, we've all been hit with something during this time. And it's been tough. It's been tough on every aspect of the celebratory world. Whether it's graduations, whether it's weddings, whatever it might be. But and the same goes for kids' birthday parties. So we know it's been tough especially on the little ones. So we created a solution with a virtual birthday party. And what that looks like is that once you book your birthday party with us, all the kids are going to receive a pizza kit, along with a slice of their favorite birthday cake and a candle, all going to be hand delivered to their home. And again, for right now, it's going to be Staten Island residents. So we apologize for anybody that's outside of Staten Island. and along with a birthday party room link. So once they're inside their private room, all the kids will be shown how to make their pizza kits by somebody on the staff here at the restaurant. And then everyone's invited to sing happy birthday, to the special birthday person. And we're going to have upgrades to that too. You can have, we'll be able to have a magician performing, maybe a DJ performing. We're still working those things out, but there are going to be special guests that we're going to have there performing.
Really cool. So it seems like you guys got all your ducks in a row over there.
As best as we can do.
Very nice. So that's sort of a great way to talk about adapting. So obviously you're adapting in leaps and bounds, but kind of give the audience an overview of what did it look like week one, or has business slowed up? Has business decreased? Has it increased? Is it steady? What does it look like? How did it affect the business?
I got to tell you, there was no way of knowing what was going to happen, right? There was no way of knowing what day one was going to look like. And so you can't plan for things like that. You can go week over week with inventory items and, based on what the prior Friday night was, how many people sat in your restaurant. But in the virtual world, you got to try to figure out and try to have, ample product for a phone to ring. And we had no idea what that was going to look like. And in day one, believe me, it wasn't pretty. And I wasn't sure what we were going to do in day two and day three. But then as each day went on, we added things to social media. We were putting things out there. And listen, our food speaks for itself. So when people do get the food that we sent right to their doors, they're going to enjoy it. So that we weren't worried about that. We were worried about the phone ringing to get the food to the door. So, but oddly enough, we've been here for a long time. We have a tremendous following here in the community, and we're so thankful every single day for that. I don't think we can have a show long enough to thank the people who have supported us during this time. But I can tell you that it definitely exceeded our expectations.
Well, that's a good thing. That's a positive thing to hear.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's definitely a positive, but there's just challenges to that as well. During all this time, what was one of the bigger factors in any business is shrinking it down to roughly 25% of the original staff. So now you have to learn how to operate same amount of orders, same amount of food, but now with 75% less staff. How do you do that? There's no script. You just do it. And luckily, thank God, we have a tremendous staff here, and we were able to crank the food out and get it to people's houses hot. We've had a very favorable outcome on social media world. I haven't seen any complaints out there about the food that we sent out, the temperature of the food, the types of food, the mistakes of the food. So we've been very blessed, and I guess I can't say that part of it enough, because you don't know what to expect. It's like going into a room blinded, dark room. It could be things thrown at you you don't see. But we were able to overcome all that, and here we are. While there are places that are closing, and we hate to hear that and see that, we are extremely fortunate that we're able to run the restaurant the way it was meant to be ran. The quality of the food has not changed. Our suppliers have been amazing with us, and it's just been a real blessing.
So the theme of this show, if you don't know, is kind of exactly what you're talking about how businesses are adapting, how great Staten Island is, of course, how great the community is, but also taking something from everything that's going on and being able to use it to better yourself or better the business. So do you think that these really new and cool ideas that you guys are putting together, these wine tastings, and do you think this is like a Band-Aid? Is this something you're going to just roll out because you're hoping to make it through to the other side when the world opens up? Or do you think this has legs? Do you think it's viable for the future to continue to offer this in addition to sitting down to a normal meal?
Oh, I think this has got, forget about legs, it's a centipede. I don't see a reason why the centipede. I don't know how many legs a centipede had. Knows a lot in that fast. But I can tell you that once the world as we know it opens up to a level that we've never seen, because it's not going to come, they're going to snap their fingers. Okay, everybody can operate business as usual, and people are just going to be running out the door. they're still going to have it's going to be done in stages. So we have to be able to plan ahead for those stages. So while if you have a capacity in your dining room of 100 people, the first wave of the restaurant being open may only be 35 or 40 people. We don't know that yet. We don't know what that looks like. So we still want to be able to have people enjoy things that they still can't enjoy yet, because you may not be able to have, if it's a catering hall, you may not be able to have 100 people for a wedding or a baby shower or whatever the case might be. So we still have the ability to be able to do these virtual parties, for lack of a better term, virtual events, even after this is gone. And you know what? It doesn't make a difference even after we're open fully. You know, if Staten Island has 10,000 people, you can't fit 10,000 people in your restaurant, and you can't get every event into your restaurant. So we'll be able to reach an audience that we probably couldn't reach before.
Very cool. Now, I know you have a really nice outdoor patio. And again, and I know no one knows, I've asked every guest this, and there is no answer. But eventually, we know the world will open up, right? We know the 15th of this month, which is, I believe, Friday. The pause is going to be lifted. And what that means is, as you said, you know, you mentioned it and you said it, there's going to be stages, and people will be able to do certain things at certain times.
Right.
Do you think, in your experience and in your opinion, do you think that since you guys have an outdoor patio, it might give you a little more leverage with the outdoors? Or do you think it's going to be a blanket rule that says, you know, restaurants have to wait until stage 4 or stage 5?
Well, listen, I know the restaurant world, according to the stages and according to, you know, when things are going to reopen. I know the restaurants are towards the latter part. I think it's level 4 or level 5. But I do believe that if you are an outdoor venue, you're going to have the ability to open up sooner, because the biggest thing they want to try to stay away from is the indoor lack of air movement, or, you know, that kind of thing of being enclosed. So I do believe that before we might even be told that we can open up the outside, not the inside. So we're planning for that as well. You know, if there's a 6-foot rule, we have to determine how many tables we're going to put, where we're going to put them. We have to worry about, you know, the staff that we're going to be using, because the staff, from what I understand and from what I think is going to happen, is that, you know, service staff and all staff is going to have to wear masks too. What's that going to look like to the interaction of the guest? Because, you know, let's face it, in the restaurant world, it's all about the guest experience. And if the guest experience has that of a mask in front of your face, it's not going to give you that warmth. So we don't know what that's going to look like yet. But I do believe, in my opinion, is that we're going to be able to open up the outside even before the inside opens up.
I hope so, and I wish you luck. And you're talking about safety procedures and safety measures. So I know you guys did some stuff early on with seals, and, you know, tell us a little bit about that.
Every bag that we put out there, every pizza box that we close has a tamper-resistant seal on it. Now, it's just an extra layer of security for the guest that's getting it. It doesn't mean that, you know, we covered it with hand sanitizer and it's as clean as it can be, but it gives somebody a little bit of security in knowing that, you know what, I feel better right now, that it's not just a box with air in it, or bags that they've tied up that it's been, we reopened it to put something in it. They know that once that safety seal is on there, that it hasn't been tampered with after the fact. And let's face it, we are strictly a takeout and delivery service now. And for outside of our area, we have third-party vendors like DoorDash and Uber Eats. And it's important for the guests to know that, yes, while we created the dishes for them and bagged everything up, it's now going to a third-party delivery service. Who's to say that wasn't touched? And it gives them that extra layer of security.
It sounds good. I like the idea a lot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. I apologize, but each night here on the show, we do what we call the COVID Talks Hero of the Day. So this is the time for anybody who's watching us live. Use the comment section. If you have any questions for Mike, when we introduce the COVID Talks Hero of the Day, we're going to come back. We're going to scan the comment section, and we will answer any questions that you may have. So, Mike, I actually just hold tight for 1 second. You get a breather. And we are going to introduce tonight's COVID Talks Hero of the Day, all the way from Albuquerque. So the gentleman in the top of that picture there, next to that ATM machine, Jose Romanez, went out to deposit a check into the bank. And next to the bank, his Wells Fargo ATM, where you see him pictured, he found a clear plastic bag filled with bundled $100 bills, $10 bills, $5 bills. So rather than pick it up and steal it or do anything like that, this young man picked the bag up, went to the local precinct, turned it in. It was reported that it was the highest amount of money ever returned in the state's history. It was $135,000. So this young man picked up a bag full of $135,000 in a climate that we're in right now, where people are struggling, people are, going out of business, people don't have access to funds, people are on unemployment. And this young man, Jose, took back $135,000. Fortunately, he's a great guy. Unfortunately, all he got in return is that little plaque that you see him standing there with. They gave him a little plaque from the Albuquerque Police Department, but the money wasn't necessary. Shout out to Mr. Romanes and his entire family for being a great example of what the spirit of America should be and how people should interact every day. All right, we're back.
That was absolutely amazing.
Imagine that.
No.
I don't know if I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if I would return it. 135 grand in a bag.
In all hundreds? In all hundreds?
Well, it wasn't counted. Who knows? The kid just picked it up and brought it to the cops. Whatever. God bless him. All right, so let's see. We have a question from my sister. Shout out to Mary Rapp. Will you be able to have people host a hero lunch and pay for meals to go to hospitals or nursing homes and reach those people?
Repeat that one more time. We'd be able to have
Would
people.
you be able to have people host a hero lunch and pay for meals? So I guess, can you order from Giovanni's to say send it to the hospital?
Well, sure, and I mean, listen, it falls right in line with the virtual world, right? Anything is possible. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely something we can definitely look into. Absolutely.
All right, let's see. Shout out to Vito Canena, our longest and best fan. We want to highlight Brian Licata. Brian Licata from the Staten Island Chamber of Commerce. I can't wait to do it again. I think Brian was a part of that virtual wine tasting you guys did. Is that correct? He was.
It really was a great night. Talking with Brian, talking with everybody in there. The event sold out, and that in and of itself, that was, I was expecting it to be somewhat a success. To sell out was something that was, again, above and beyond the expectation. But then even after it started, I was having a blast with everybody. And you know what? You see the look on their faces, the smile on their faces, the laughter, the enjoyment of whatever the product was in front of them, whether it was the wine, whether it was the appetizer, the antipasto. I mean, that brings a lot of joy, not to me and the staff as well, because we see people enjoying something that we created for them. And that, to me, that's what it's all about. So when they sat, and you see it on a two-dimensional thing, them enjoying themselves and hearing the laughter, that's really what it's about.
And I think you did shout out our good friend Vinny Bonomi, but we want to do it again because apparently Vinny Bonomi introduced you to the people over at Giovanni's.
Vinny, I did, buddy. I don't know how much you have to do it. I mean, listen, Vinny, I tell you what. In about 25 to 8 at 8 o'clock, go outside and look up, and then it'll work.
We love Vinny Bonomi. Shout out to Vinny. And anyone who doesn't know, check out Specialties. Look at their website. Vinny's got a lot of stuff going on right now. Very busy, but all of it for a good cause. Everything from custom T-shirts to custom face masks. Pretty much anything that you want something printed on, Vinny Bonomi and his team can do it. They could do it quick, and they could do it in an affordable way, which is very important. All three of those things is important right now because I know I've tried to use a couple of vendors for my company, and things have been delayed weeks. Things have been delayed. One thing's been delayed a month. Vinny Bonomi's right here on Staten Island. Specialties. Check out their website. They offer an entire suite of products for marketing, for promotion, T-shirts. It's a complete suite of services. So definitely check out Vin. And Vin, thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
Right. See? Right here, buddy.
Oh, you got those shirts from Vinny Bonomi? There you go. See? Vinny Bonomi. I love him. All right, so we're going to close out the comment section, and we're going to shut the show down. We're going to close out. So, Mike, I'm going to bring you down below into the green room. I'll be back in a minute. Just going to close out the segment. We want to thank Mike for being with us, taking the time, because it looks like you're working right now. Is that true?
Yes.
So technically, you're working right now, and you gave us 20 minutes to be on the show.
Very hard.
And talk about the great stuff going on there. So we appreciate it. We appreciate all you do. We wish you and Giovanni's Trattoria nothing but success in the future. And when you officially launch and give out the dates and times, let us know, because we'd be more than happy to promote it here on the show and also shoot it out on the website. So thank you once again for being with us, Mike. I really appreciate it.
I want to thank you for having us on today, and I also want to thank the community for doing everything that they've been doing to support Giovanni's the way they have, and I can't thank you all enough. Thank you very much.
Perfect. I'll be right with you, sir. All right. Very cool. Very, very nice story about how a restaurant that you wouldn't think a restaurant can do anything at a virtual level, right? You're thinking cooking, pots, pans, drinking, cocktails, but they've managed to meld technology into food service, and I hope for their sake it takes off. It seems like they were very successful with the virtual wine tasting event, and it's something that we'll monitor, something that we'll follow, and I'm sure it's going to be something that, if it works on their end, that other restaurants will copy. So it's great that they're going to be out there on the forefront testing it. So once again, we thank Michael for being with us. And before we leave tonight, just two quick shout outs. Again, if you'd like to be a guest on our show, or you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, shoot us an email, info@prcision.com. If you or a client would like to host or create a live stream or an event like we're doing right here, we're doing right now, shoot us an email, info@prcision.com. We have staff that'll get that done for you and talk to you about how it works and what it looks like. And we, again, invite you to join us tomorrow night live at 7. We have what's going to be a great show. I know it, just because we're going to have a young engaged couple whose wedding was postponed. It was actually supposed to be this Saturday night. What they've done is, rather than call it a wash and, be upset about it, they're actually using the day to commemorate their wedding by launching a campaign called "With This Ring, You'll Be Fed." And they're going to be raising money for local food pantries in Staten Island and on New Jersey. It's going to be a great story. So we invite you to tune in, and we encourage you to watch the show. And finally, a COVID Talks exclusive. We're fortunate. We've gotten a few of these exclusive interviews. This Friday night is going to be another one. We're going to have Pam Silvestri, food editor of the Staten Island Advance, will be our guest again. Anyone who lives on Staten Island knows Pam. Pam is a staple in the community, both as a former restaurant owner and now as the food editor of the Staten Island Advance. She's going to give us a state of the borough overview of what's going on in the restaurant world and what's going on in the industry. And hopefully she'll give us some information about what she thinks, in her opinion, will be the next stage and phase of how and when we reopen. So again, thank you very much for tuning in and watching. We appreciate it. If you're listening, we appreciate that as well. This has been the next episode of COVID Talks, positive talks during uncertain times. Have a good night.